Today we're talking about the dynamic dual threat quarterback from LSU, Jayden Daniels' full scouting report. Let's get right into it. The LSU offense was just so fun to watch. Jayden Daniels' 2023 season was remarkable. He won the Heisman Trophy and had a record-breaking year. He scored 50 total touchdowns on the season and had the best passer rating in a single season by a QB in FBS history. The dude was insane this year. But Jayden Daniels is an older prospect than both Drake May and Caleb Williams and has only one season of elite production. Jayden spent his first 3 seasons at Arizona State before transferring to LSU in 2022. It's not that Jayden didn't show elite potential, his numbers just paled in comparison to what he did this year in 2023. Even as a true freshman in 2019, Jayden showed his potential. He threw for nearly 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, and just 2 interceptions. His 2020 season was only 4 games long due to COVID. He would throw 5 touchdowns to just 1 INT. And then his junior season he struggled, throwing 10 touchdowns to 10 interceptions before transferring to LSU and bouncing back during his first season at LSU, again throwing 17 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. But then he blew up this year, winning the Heisman Trophy, throwing 40 touchdowns, rushing for 10 more, and throwing just 4 interceptions on the season. A truly phenomenal season has Jayden Daniels projected to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. I watched his entire season of 2023 film and went back and watched a couple of his games from his Arizona State film. Today I wanted to give the full scouting report on LSU's Jayden Daniels. First, let's get into his strengths. Jayden Daniels is a big-time passer who's poised in the pocket. He has no trouble progressing through his reads or throwing to anywhere on the field. He has a quick release and the arm strength to throw to all 3 levels versus the defense. He has elite athleticism, home run speed, and he's super elusive. He's a true dual threat quarterback who can be a dangerous runner at the next level. He's also very dangerous throwing on the run, and he does a decent job keeping his eyes up when he's scrambling. Jayden's able to make defenders look silly at times. His elusiveness looks effortless, and he's so dynamic with his legs. But Jayden is also a smart decision maker, and he takes care of the football, with the lowest turnover rate of all quarterbacks in the nation last year. NFL coaches will love that. Taking care of the football is huge in the NFL. His leadership qualities should also translate. He's a smart player, and he really took the LSU offense to another level. He's also a dynamic athlete with big-time arm and elite accuracy down the field. What are his weaknesses? Jayden is older than other prospects, coming in at 23 years old, and he was a 5th-year senior who only had 1 full season of elite production. Basically, he's a 1-year wonder from a production standpoint. He did have some other good seasons, but none of them lived up to what he did this year. His accuracy can also be inconsistent. Same with his release. It's just inconsistent at times, and he has issues with his mechanics. I believe the accuracy issues stem from his mechanics and can be fixed with proper coaching and development. Jayden has a tendency to bail on clean pockets and scramble before he needs to. His pocket presence is questionable. In a perfect pocket, he can progress through his reads and tear apart defenses. But if he senses pressure, he is quick to take off running. That could get him in trouble in the NFL. The lack of consistency bothers me. He almost played like a video game at times, where he would operate like a dangerous pocket passer when protection held up, but take off like Robert Griffin at the first sign of trouble. His production last season was ridiculous, but is it sustainable? And how much was it him being an older prospect, playing against younger kids, and taking advantage of his surrounding talent at LSU? He had the nation's best 1-2 punch at receiver. I have a lot more questions about Jayden Daniels than I do with Caleb Williams. His biggest weakness is a lack of NFL play strength and his super thin frame, paired with his inability to properly protect himself when he scrambles. Jayden did bulk up over the last year and a half, but he still has a very slight frame, and I worry about it heading into the NFL. He needs to learn to protect himself when running. Sometimes he would even go out of his way to take unnecessary contact, even leaping into defenders to get slammed on the ground. Jayden Daniels scares me. I have serious questions about how his play will translate into the NFL. Even with 2 of the best receivers in the country, he seemed to trust his legs more than his arms in key situations. His frame is not built to stand up as a runner in the NFL. He reminds me of RG3, Robert Griffin, but maybe with an even thinner frame. He had 2 legit first-round talents at wide receiver and a stacked team. He won the Heisman Trophy and put up video game type numbers, but there was just something missing when I watched the All-22 film. But the biggest issue for me, specifically when it comes to the Chicago Bears, is if Jayden Daniels was the guy, trading Justin Fields makes absolutely no sense to me. I think Jayden would have been a perfect guy to come in and set behind Fields for a year and then come in and play if Fields got hurt. But drafting him after trading away Justin Fields doesn't make sense to me. I think Jayden would benefit tremendously from a year on the bench in the NFL. This would give him time to bulk up, learn an NFL offense, and work on protecting himself from injury. I guess if that happened, people could argue that he doesn't need to set since he's already an older prospect and he's more NFL ready. But to me, he really has to learn how to protect himself, and I would want him to set for a season in the NFL. To me, Jayden Daniels is one of the hardest evaluations in the entire 2023 draft class. I have a ton of questions about how his game will translate to the NFL level, but his skills are so dynamic, the coaches are going to want a chance to work with this skill set. But I don't know how to put it other than he scares me as a prospect. I think Jayden needs to be developed and coached in the NFL. The best thing for Jayden Daniels would be to get drafted by a team that has a good situation. Unfortunately, the Patriots and Commanders don't seem to offer that. His best hope might be landing in Minnesota, but I would rather not have him in our division, to be honest. Let me be clear. I think Jayden Daniels is an awesome prospect. I have him as my 5th highest rated player in this entire draft, behind only Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison, Rome Odunze, and Drake May. Strictly for the Chicago Bears, I just don't see him being the guy. It doesn't make sense to me, but I have seen crazier things happen in the NFL. The bottom line with Jayden Daniels is he's a dynamic, dual-threat QB prospect who is equally capable of beating defenses with his arm or his legs. To me, he's not quite on the same level of prospect as Caleb Williams is, coming in just a tier below. Jayden Daniels might be the most NFL ready out of all the QB prospects this year, but he has to get bigger and learn to protect himself. He's a big-time playmaker and dual-threat QB prospect. This guy is simply a tough prospect to evaluate, but he should be fun to watch on Sundays in the NFL. I hope he doesn't end up in Minnesota. I appreciate everyone who watches. I put a ton of time into these scouting reports. Please remember to hit that like button for me. Stay tuned, and until next time, bear down.